session on free sample clone questions which are very similar to the real exam. But we at EduHubSpot are providing at your end to make sure that we are not leaving any stones unturned to help make sure that you are definitely succeeding in your exam. Yeah, that's what at the end of the day matters to us. The fact that you succeed in your exam, you ace PMP with flying colors and give us the great news. Yeah. So I'm Soumya, and I'm very happy to go ahead and meet you again. Yeah. So feel free to go ahead and come out with your chat comments. So as always, I'll go ahead and help resolve any of your comments on PMP, as well as any of your comments on any of the questions being discussed out here during the course of the live sessions. Trust me, the questions of today are a mix and match of various concepts out there from agile and hybrid perspective, and each of these questions will have some of the learning to go ahead and take forward. So fasten your seat belts and look forward to a great session of discussions on not only PMP but also any other aspects or any other turning points on dealing with these questions out there with the right strategy in place. Yeah. So let's get started. Here comes your first question of the day. And also, very importantly, you get a timer of 60 seconds as always. So your 60 seconds start now. Okay, so last 5 seconds. Okay, so Ratna says D. Okay, anyone else? Okay, let's get into the explanation of this particular question. So Stacy's team facing several challenges to launch a product on time. Yep. Now the pandemic has resulted in several delays from Stacy's team's perspective. Okay, so see a mixed match of B, C, and D. Let's see. Now, given the fact that the TV ads for launch dates are already purchased, now Stacy is tasked to come out with a way to launch the product even if certain minor features are excluded. So she has to, go ahead and launch the feature. That's the constraint at our end. Even if some minor features are excluded, well and good. Stacy has to launch the features. Now, which of the following measures will be the best one for a successful and timely launch of the product? Okay. The question option A says instruct the team to remember the product tests that are most likely to fail at first attempts and get the requirements descoped. Anything to do with this question? Anything to do with timely launch? By getting the minor features excluded? No. So A can safely be excluded. Option B says triple the size of the test team to ensure that any defect gets detected and corrected as early as possible. The question gives us no clue whatsoever, that the test team is able to go ahead and dig deep or deal with the questions at their end, or even the product at their end. Doesn't say anything about that, right? So tripling, doubling, making it half doesn't even matter. So option B also gets ruled out. Okay, well and good. So A and B easily gets eliminated. Option C says come up with the parallel iterative track to develop requirements for a minimum viable product. Now, whenever you see that MVP out there and you know that you have to deliver something SAP, obviously, you should go ahead and take it with more seriousness. This is a standout option. You are on the lookout of such keywords out there, right? You have to deliver something ASAP to the market. And that too, if you come out with a parallel iterative track, Where you come out with that MVP and deliver it, just ignoring all the delays, whatever has happened up until now, just making sure that you're delivering whatever is needed with minimum viable, products perspective, or from the minimum viable products perspective. That's it. Do you need to think anything else? Now you know that C is a standout option. Option D says adopt fast tracking the schedule and come up with new test and readiness milestones which are close to the launch date as possible. Now, why will you at all think about the new dates whatsoever being at all close to the launch date whatsoever? No, you have to do something about going ahead and coming out with a measure to launch it as soon as possible, right? So fast tracking, you know, is that the way forward? Not necessarily. You know it very well that C has all the points or all the standout options to go ahead and make this option the best one possible. So you click on C, click on submit, know that that is the best option out here. Okay, very nice. So flasme.freshen, very happy to go ahead and hear that you just got and passed the PMP. Very nice. I'm very happy, and I'll be even happier to know that these questions, whatever we are discussing, was actually of great help to you. Awesome, Nadu. Let's move on to the next question. So here comes your next question, and your 60 seconds kickstart now. Okay, so you see Ratna, Ashu, Adam, all with D. Raj, super happy. Heartiest congratulations. All the very best. I look forward to getting in touch with both of you, Nadu and Raj. Okay. Anyone else with the right option for this question? Okay, so Evelyn also says D. Okay, so let's get into this question. Let's see what it's asking for. And many questions in the exam might be somewhat aligned to this kind of question. Two tracks, two companies, one in the agile, one in the predictive. You don't have full picture of how the requirements are. You'll have to do the best to go ahead and, come out with the best solution. Such questions, are intentionally given to make you more ready with, such similar kind of propositions and situations. So whenever you see a hybrid kind of project or two tracks and you have to take care of both the tracks, be aware of the coordinations, be aware of the sync ups between the two tracks, because that's where you get even better. Okay. Now, two companies, X and Y, merge together. Their merger results in combining an agile software project of erstwhile company X and a predictive electronics project of company Y into a single hybrid project. Okay, so that's what precisely we were talking about. A couple of months down the line, requirements change in both the tracks. So requirements changed in agile track, requirements change in the predictive tracks, right? Couple of months down the line. However, no one has full picture or status on the importance of the requirements. Now everyone is in the dark. They don't know what to do, what exactly to expect, how to proceed, nothing whatsoever. Now, in which of the following ways can the project manager best resolve this problem? Now, there is a reason as to why I go ahead and pause, try to go ahead and reiterate what's the key points are. Now, that's precisely what you have to do when you are presented this particular question, any question whatsoever. You'll have to go ahead and immerse yourself in the question. Kind of thoroughly check what are the key aspects for each of these phrases out there. How they go ahead and relate to your applications. And then go for the strategy to choose the best option out of the lot, right? So option A says, come up with a new mastered work breakdown structure. Now, is work breakdown structure or does work breakdown structure have anything to do with better coordination between the two tracks? No. Very nice, Raj. Thank you for sharing. Okay, so option B says integrate the requirement specification in the backlog and guide the electronics team on working with the new document. Now, I still somewhere down the line, understand integrating the requirement specification into the backlog out there, right? But the question out here says no one having full picture or status on the importance of the requirements. Now, if you say, for example, go ahead and still integrate the items into the product backlog, no one is telling in this question about the prioritization and the deprioritization, assuming that it's prioritized whatsoever as per your requirements. Who has the full picture about the done status of the requirements whatsoever? Do you go ahead and have that? No. So I still ballpark this particular option and see what the other options are telling me. C says integrate the backlog into requirement specification and guide the electronics team on working with the new requirement. It somehow sounds familiar, similar to option B out there. Doesn't as such go ahead and seem as a standout option for me. Option D says come up with the requirements traceability matrix by combining the product backlog with requirement specification and define both documents as input. Now, very importantly, the requirements specification product backlog are in place, which we are reasonably comfortable with. But additionally, it goes ahead and gives us the requirements traceability matrix. Now that document goes ahead and helps us trace any requirement to its origin. And that's what also you are going ahead and looking out for, right? So if you have that trace back to the origin, you know for sure how you should be going ahead and proceeding, or what should be the way forward to go ahead and take it. Now, options B and C were somewhat close and somewhat, okay. In a hurry, we might go ahead and mark any of these and move forward. But we have to go for the completeness, yeah, of the option which fits in or suits that particular scenario in the question. That's why also it's a prerequisite that you go into the question, immerse yourself, understand it end to end, then only go for the options. Then only you'll be able to choose the best option out of the lot, not only the good or the better options, right? So know for sure that D has to be the best option. Requirements traceability matrix, which you go ahead and come up by combining the backlog with the requirement specification. The product backlog comes from the agile track. The requirement specification comes from the predictive track. And you go ahead and define both the documents as input. Okay. So let's move ahead with the next question. So as you see, this is question number 3, and the timer kickstarts now. Okay, so time's up. Anyone with any of the options? Remember, there are two options you have to select out of the lot. Okay, so Ratna says BC. Anyone else? Okay, so Evelyn says B and E. Okay, so Shivam says B and D. Very nice, Shivam. Anyone else? Jyoti also says B and D. Okay, Prashant says B and D as well. Okay, so does this particular question seem a bit, difficult or complex to deal with? Should not. As I mentioned, the more close you go to the question, understand what exactly it is asking for, the easier it is for you. Let's see why. A hybrid project combines software development and IT integration tasks. Okay. Now, the agile and predictive teams happen to be working in silos, causing misaligned deliverable scheduling. Okay. Now, which of the following measures, two of those, would most appropriately enable the team to better sync up their deliverables? So there are some challenges. Obviously, syncing up challenges whatsoever. Now, what are those challenges? Hybrid project obviously is being dealt with, and that agile and predictive teams are working in silos. They are not coordinating. That's resulting in misaligned deliverable scheduling. Now you will have to come out with the best options out of the lot, and that to two of the options, which stand out, which help the team, to better sync up their deliverables. So option A says make use of IT predictive scheduling to limit the features. I should not read further, right? Limiting the features. What does that have to do with you going ahead and ensuring better sync up? Remember, the question takes us back to the hybrid arena. Two tracks, agile and predictive. Misaligned deliverables between the two tracks. So you'll have to come out with some way or some form of aligning the tracks better, right? So option A obviously gets ruled out. Option B says create a common Kanban board. Now, wherever you see there's a common aspect out there, and all of you who have marked B, absolutely correct. You know, just going by the keywords common Kanban board, you know that it's trying to bring some parity between the two tracks, or trying to bring them both in alignment. So create a common Kanban board to queue and track progress of both teams' deliverables. Be absolutely one of the best options. You know for sure, but you will still have to find the other one. Option C says break down IT work packages into more granular tasks. Now, what does the breakdown have to do with the agile and predictive? And very importantly, work breakdown structure has nothing to do with agile. So you know for sure this can be ruled out. So A and C gets ruled out. Okay. Option D says come up with common milestones and an overall dependency network. Again, you have the clue that you have to come out with something which is common between the two tracks, agile and predictive. So common milestones and an overall dependency network to be used by both teams. Isn't that the best way to go for coming up with patching up any kind of misalignment between the two tracks? Absolutely. Next, decompose IT work packages into granular tasks. Again, just like in C, it has nothing to do with you going out with better alignment. So it's all about understanding what the question is saying. And the premise is pretty simple. Hybrid, agile predictive, misalignment, you'll have to bring out the alignment whatsoever. What two options we should go ahead and select? The common ones, you creating something common, you coming out with common milestones. Obviously, those will be standout, isn't it? So options B and D. Obviously, the standout ones. Click on submit. You know for sure that has to be the correct options. Okay, moving on to question 4. Let me make it full screen first. And your timer starts now. Okay, so anyone? Now this question requires a bit of knowledge. It's only one option, Ashish, not two. And this requires just some minor, I would say, facts to be known out here. You don't have to go to the depths whatsoever, but just some minor facts. So I see many of you going for behavior-driven development. Okay, so is that the way forward for hybrid? So that's a question mark, and just make it a note that one of these options out there would be the standout for hybrid, right? Or the scalable approach, whatever is being looked out for. So let's see what the question is going ahead and saying. So for those for whom the question is right now appearing as blurred, you can go to the YouTube recording out there once we are done with the sessions. Any of the questions will appear to be very clear out here, and we are shooting it on high definition. The sound, the video, everything should be as per your requirements whatsoever. So if you find any issues with the the blurriness of the questions whatsoever, you can just refer back. Should not be a problem. Okay, so the question out here is going ahead and saying, Kerry is the project manager of a new wildlife reserve project. Now, that will have a staff of around 50 builders, logistic workers, and experts with exposure to various or varied safety risks. She wants a scalable approach combining team dynamics and flexibility backed by traditional safeguards. Which of the following techniques should Kerry use to tailor a hybrid project of this nature? Now, remember very importantly, hybrid projects of these kinds of nature whatsoever, where you have to go ahead and take care of scalability as well. There at such instances is not extreme programming, not feature driven development, not Scrum, not Kanban. The crystal methods which are very useful. Now, what are crystal methods and how you should go for it? Obviously, a discussion of more details that would be required in such instances, isn't it? So, let me know if you have any doubts on what crystal methods are or how these work. Just go ahead and learn a bit about how crystal works, and that would be, very helpful for you. And if you need any further inputs or help on how crystal works, just like this particular scenario out here, as you see, can reach me out at any point of time on my email ID or even contact me over my phone, which you see out here. And very shortly, I will also share my LinkedIn handle so that you can connect with me and get to know even better. There's an in-depth discussion out here, so how things are and how things, would be different from any other methods or aspects out there. Why not behavior-driven development? Why not extreme programming? Extreme programming, you know for sure that like pair programming or some of the other approaches takes it to a different level altogether. But is that applicable for hybrid projects? There's a different or hell lot of discussion whatsoever that's governing us in circling that. And we do go ahead and take you through examples, various forms or means to make it more clear. Now, worst case scenario, and I am pretty sure that many of you might be, very, 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 worried about how come we go ahead and come up with, answers to this particular question. Now, you know for sure that if you are not, fully confident about which method, just go for a wild guess and move forward. That's absolutely fine. There's no negative marking. But then this session is out there to make sure that you not only go ahead and take care of the fail-safe mechanisms, but also these facts, which would be very useful out here. Right, Ratna. So we have gone ahead and selected the high definition out here as well. Be rest assured. Okay, so let's move ahead with the next question. So let's make it full screen, and I'm taking you forward to the next question. So as you see, this is question number 5, and your timer starts now. Okay, so time's nearly up. And I see some of you already typing B's. Very nice. Any one of you, other than Ratna, HTX, Cisco, and Prashant, would like to give it a shot? Okay. Now, this should be a straightforward question out there if you are going ahead and reading it very, very carefully, right? And again, you'll see that it is asking a trivial aspect, which is what you should be going ahead and looking out for. But then that trivial aspect can be preempted only if you are going through the question thoroughly. Let's see how. Mary is part of an agile team that is struggling to solve a backlog issue or blocking issue with packaging design for an electronic gadget. The team eventually finds this solution. So there is a blocking issue with some electronic gadget. The agile team out there, goes ahead and eventually finds this solution. But this solution requires a different gadget format which requires approval from the product owner. It's mentioned out there. It requires a different gadget format. This solution requires a different gadget format which requires approval from the product owner. Now, remember, in such scenarios where you are given that you have to come out with a solution, but that requires something which requires approval from the product owner, you have to go for it. Now, which of the following scenarios would Mike recommend in this particular scenario? Right? That's the question. Right? So you have a solution, you have to have a different gadget format or something which requires the approval of the product owner. What should you recommend? Go for the approval of the product owner. Is that trivial? Yes, nothing else. If you are going ahead with a verify whether change is consistent across vision. Now, it is said or mentioned in the question that the solution requires a different gadget format. If there is nothing to verify out there. In Agile, you are adapting to what the solution is going ahead and asking you for. So if the question is asking you for a different, or question is telling you that you require this, have to go for this. There is nothing else to verify. Question is not saying that you still are pending with some verification. It's saying that you have found a solution. Your team has found a solution. Right? The cross-functional, the T-shaped team has found some solution. You should go ahead and support them. Option B says come out with the prototype and demo it to the end user. Now, very importantly, I see some of you have gone ahead and chosen B out there as well. Now, you could have done that had you required to gain more confidence from the customer in terms of how or howsoever you are going ahead or proceeding or what you are developing. But is that the question out here? That is you coming out with the prototype and demoing it, or the question is you coming out with the solution which takes care of the different gadget format and the exceptions or the the observations emanating from those. Right? Think through. It's not the question about you demoing it to the user. It said that it can't be demoed because you require a different format which requires some approval. So would you giving the prototype or you coming out with the demo be helpful? Option C says execute a cost benefit analysis or CBA to determine its value. Cost benefit analysis, are you telling that the project is not feasible and you have to come out with the cost benefit analysis to take it forward? Is that the way forward? Or even option D, which says tell the product owner to approve the change. Yes, it is that trivial. Solution is lying with the product owner. Let the product owner go ahead and come out with the change and go forward. That's it. So the question is not asking anything else whatsoever. It's that trivial whatsoever. Don't require any kind of critical thinking. It's all about you understanding and internalizing the question and going ahead and selecting the best option out of the lot. That's it. As you see. Okay. So moving ahead with the next question. And your timer of 60 seconds start now. Okay, so last 5 seconds. I already see some options coming up. So Adam says D, Mudassar says A, Ashu says D. Okay, Nagu says D, Ratna says A. Okay, so anyone else? Okay, so even before going into the explanation of this question, I've also mentioned my LinkedIn handle out there. I'll keep mentioning the same during the course of the session. So for any doubts, any queries, you can even reach me out over LinkedIn as well. I would love to go ahead and connect with all of you. Okay, so let's get back to the explanation for this question. Your company currently has multiple agile projects running concurrently. The PMO office of the company wishes to use information radiators to share progress and key lessons learned. How can this feat be achieved? What feat? Information radiators going ahead and sharing progress. Progress in the sense the project progress as well as the key lessons learned. How can that feat be best achieved? That's the question out of the law. Now, option A, fishbowl windows to depict all the team's progress or Kanban boards and charts in real time. Now, what is that indicating? Option A, just the progress. How about the lessons learned? Right? Option B, install webcams to broadcast all Kanban boards and cycle the images sequentially on the register, on the radiator. Again, what is that depicting? The progress. The Kanban board comes up with the progress. You know it very well. Option C says, come up with an internal wiki page which all the agile teams would be able to update in real time and consult on demand. What does the option C go ahead and come up with? Anyone? What do you think that option C is going ahead and talking, or what is, what feat are we achieving out there in option C? Internal wiki page which all agile teams would be able to update in real time. Anyone? What does option C go ahead and indicate? From the question's perspective, we have a couple of aspects, right? Progress and key lessons learned. This is what we have to achieve using the radiators, and that's what the question is going at and asking, and that's what you have to find. So if you are making use of, say, radiators like fishbowl windows, or schemes like fishbowl windows, or installing radiators, like Kanban boards, all these are talking about progress. But it's only option C which is talking about the internal wiki page. Lessons learned, absolutely, Rekha. It's talking about lessons learned. But the question is asking me for an option which takes care of both the progress as well as the lessons learned. And which option is going in and telling me that? None other than option D. Installing monitors, which comes out features burn up chat. It could have given Kanban as well. That would have also gone ahead and showed me the progress, right? As well as digest of retrospectives. It covers both the facets out here, right? From the burn up charts perspective, from the lessons learned perspective, both the aspects being taken care of, right? So this is what you have to do, question upon question. The exam tests how detailed are you in your observation and how are you going ahead and applying the project management thought process from PMI perspective. It's called the PMI way of thinking, and that's the precise aspect which we from EduHubSpot go ahead and help train you day in and day out, with the grinding and with the smart work, whatever is being involved. You don't need more than 1 to 2 hours per day for 1 to 2 months without resorting to any of the textbooks. Yes, it can be done in the easiest of ways. How? Well, you can feel free to reach out to me at any point of time. We'll go ahead and have an elaborate discussion on the same. Moving back to question number 7. It's a very interesting question. Your timer starts now. There's only one option that will be correct. Okay, so time's up. Anyone would like to give it a go? So even before digging deep into this particular question, you need to be aware of what invest criteria is all about, right? User stories, you know it very well what user stories are, isn't it? Now I'll give you a second chance for this question. Let me first explain what each and every alphabets of this acronym invest is all about. So then it will be even more clear, right? So I stands for independent, N stands for negotiable, V valuable, E estimable, yeah. S, tell me anyone? Anyone would know what S is all about in invest criteria? No clue. It's absolutely fine. It's absolutely fine. Don't worry. Anyone? Any idea of what S is about? All about? You know what T is all about? Okay. Tajuddin says small. Yes. Right. So everyone echoes with Tajuddin. Story should be small enough, right? It should be achievable. You can't go ahead and come out with a big size story which will go ahead and take you years after years. T is testable. Absolutely, Tajuddin. Very nice to go ahead and see you coming out with this particular aspect out here. Yes, you can also call Indumati specific. So specific, out there, from the story perspective, small, specific, going ahead and taking care of only one specific part, one small part of the requirement out there, isn't it? So now, user story, right? So that's how we go ahead and deal with in Agile. We go ahead and come out with realizable user stories, which are testable, which are independent, which are negotiable, and also which adds value to the customers. That's how we define requirements out there in in Agile perspective to let the team work on that requirements and get done with. Now, very importantly, three stories are given, and you are being asked, which of the following options would result, right? If John is asked to go ahead and fit in the invest criteria out here. Right, absolutely, HTX Cisco. That's why I say that the exam is not dependent on textbooks. Even PMI says that as well. It's not based on PIMBOK. Very importantly, the exam is not based on PIMBOK. It is just a book for reference. It's based on the exam content outline. That's your syllabus, the tasks, which cover both the predictive agile as well as the hybrid concepts through various life cycles, be it incremental, be it iterative or any other life cycles whatsoever, adaptive, right? So we go ahead and take you forward step by step, with the newest requirements. And might have also seen our website goes ahead and comes up with the new videos out there as well. So all these would go ahead and take care of every aspect which you should be taking care in your mind. Be rest assured. Again, how you need to go ahead and come out with the roadmap for yours. Well, you can shoot me an email out here. You can also go ahead and reach me out here as well, both over my email as well as on my LinkedIn handle, and I'll be more than happy to help you out as I normally do for any of my mentees out there from all across the globe. Don't worry, Sudarshan. Yes, you can read about it. It's always important that you just go ahead and kind of latch on to examples, because those examples would be helpful in the real exam time where you are going ahead and applying the thought process. Don't worry. So, HTX6, so you can go ahead, and Cisco, you can go ahead and reach me out, and I'll be more than happy to help you out. Okay, so let's get into the question out here. Now, the stories say, the story one say, as a user, I want to be able to come up with a flexible pipe that doesn't rust for 100 years. That's the requirement out there. Now, it fits in the independent requirement, right? So no other story will go ahead and get to intersect with these requirements. Negotiable, yes. I want to do something, so that's what the user is negotiating with you as the developer. Valuable, yes, it adds value. You want to come out with a flexible pipe, right? So that's a value being added to your product or the pipe. Yeah, estimable. Now that's debatable out here. Are you able to estimate the work that's required for 100 years whatsoever? You might. Some might say yes. Sure, Rekha. So these are my contact details out here. You can reach me out on cell on my WhatsApp at any point of time. Okay, so now S specific small, however you want to go ahead and label it, perfect. That should not be a problem. Now, very importantly, the definition of small varies from person to person. Someone might say, "Is this a small thing?" Well, else might say, "Yes, absolutely. I have dealt with the small things such as this." This is the relative, aspect or the relative thought process we go ahead and talk about, right? But then the key aspect out here, which will help differentiate amongst these options, is T, which is being testable. Now, can you go ahead and safely test a pipe that can't rust or doesn't rust for 100 years down the line? You can't, right? From this point on, can you go ahead and say that I can go ahead and safely test after 100 years? A livelihood might not be that many years, isn't it? How can we go ahead and safely say that after 100 years this will stay the same flexible or will have the same flexibility? That's where it misses out. Option story one misses out on the T aspect. This was one of my questions, but I have actually gone out and reworded that also. So if you go back to the previous one, which Tajuddin is referring, you will go ahead and see that the option is different, and there's a reason as to why. I leave that work on to you. Okay, so story two says, as a user, I want to exert no more than 10 megapixels to bend this flexible pipe from a standing position. Now, this actually adheres to everything. This is testable. This is small. This is estimable. This is value adding. This is negotiable, and this is also independent. This has nothing to worry from the invest criteria perspective. So two is spot on. Option or story 3 says, as an assembler, I want to spray the pipe coating that will prevent all oxidation when exposed to 75 years of rain. So can I go ahead and test something 75 years down the line, or say for sure that it will be robust, it won't have any oxidation 75 years down the line? No. So again, this particular story fails on the T criteria. So story 2 succeeds to meet up all the invest criteria. Stories 1 and 3 don't. And that's what you go ahead and get to see in option A. Any other options which goes ahead and talks about the same? Should not be. All stories fail? No. All stories fail? No. So C and D anyways gets ruled out. Stories 1 and 2 fail? No. 2 succeed, so B also gets ruled out. Has to be option A, as you see, right? So this is how you go ahead and take it forward. Nothing to worry whatsoever. This is a very trivial concept, but you should be knowing what the invest criteria is all about, and that actually is serving as a pillar for you to go ahead and develop stories and obviously deliver the same as well, right? So let's move ahead with the next question. Okay, so here you see question number 8, and your timer starts now. Okay, so time's running out. So I see Prashant and Ratna going for D, Ashu going for A, okay, Nagu going for D, okay. Anyone else? Again, this is partially a knowledge-based question, but then again, you always have fail-safe mechanisms, right? As I keep saying, you're never alone when you're going ahead and giving this exam. So you always have some of the other means or modes to fall back on, or some strategy to fall back on, to see that you are not missing out on the best option. The question says, at times, the agile team has idle periods when having to wait for the product director to inform the product owner on new goals, hinging on decisions that depend on analysis of market research. Now, research out here is the keyword. I'll say why. Which of the following measures could help reconcile the needs of the director and the agile team? Okay. Now, which of the following measures out here, that is between A and D, or among A and D, A to D, which of the following measures would help reconcile the needs of the director and the agile team? Right. Now, very importantly, the agile team has idle periods, right? Does that have anything to do with this? Okay. Partially, it is just setting you up with the context. New goals hinging on decisions. Now, this is the key thing. Decisions. What does the decisions, or what do the decisions depend on? Obviously, the analysis of market research. Now, whenever there is some research activity, can you safely say that this would be the time that it would take to go ahead and get done with the research, or come out with the best, option out of the research, whatsoever, the end goal of the research? Research takes time. It is time taking or time consuming. You have to wait for some time, then only go ahead and look out for the output of the result of the research. Otherwise you are not in good shape, isn't it? So in agile, you say, for example, you have to take care of research, right? In agile, if you have to take care of research, can you do that? Can you do research in agile? You know very well that everything in agile is time bound, right? You have time bound iterations which are referred to as sprint. You have time bound targets out there. Within this particular time frame, you are going to go ahead and get done with the sprint commitments. So then where does the scope of research come in? So anyone out of you can go ahead and tell me, what particular term, which is synonymous to stories, helps you deal with research out there in agile. I repeat the question. So a term that goes ahead and tags along with this term research in agile, right? Yes, spikes. Perfect. Who said that you are not ready, Cisco? You are, very, very importantly. I'm taking the word out there based on your name out there, but I don't know what your exact name is. So very nice. Yes, Pavitra. Yes, Nagu. It's Spike, and that's what is the key that you should be going for. I had also discussed a similar question out there in the past. This was intentionally out here, kept, for this particular week. That you have to go ahead and knock that particular part of the knowledge. And that's how we go ahead and take it forward. Now, I could have come out with the spikes definition with a couple of pages of, elaborate description, and could have also gone out and asked you to go ahead and check out the relevant example in Agile Practice Guide or any other books out there. We don't do that. We take such examples, we go ahead and make it clear, we drill it down here in your preparation mindset so that you can go ahead and apply at any other points of time. Would you forget right now after going in and discussing about this question? Absolutely not. So dealing with market research, the analysis which goes in the market research whatsoever, any form of research will take any X number of time or X amount of time. And you can't go ahead and just safely, time box that time inside the scope of, agile out there. You have to deal with spikes. And which option go ahead and tell you about spikes out there? It's none other than option D. So after clearing the backlog, come out in market research spikes to keep the director updated. So if you are not aware of what spikes are, if you just go ahead and see if there is a fail-safe mechanism out there or not, say lead team to perform brainstorming sessions. Now you are performing market research. Brainstorming is obviously part of research. How is that going to help reconcile the needs? Okay, come up with team training events. Now training, how is that going to help you with resolving this problem of idle periods out there? Okay, so you can say that you are making the most out of those idle periods, but fine, what does training have to do with the analysis of market research? You still have to go ahead and spend on time. The decisions are hinging on this, not on the idle periods out there, isn't it? B also gets ruled out. Option C says nullify slack by curtailing the team size. Again, the same point out there. What does that have to do? So you're left out with D, even though you don't know the meaning of spike, you know for sure that you have eliminated and this should be the correct option. That's how the fail-safe mechanism of the strategy works for you. Keep that in mind. Very, very important. Okay, so let's move on. If you have any further doubts on what spikes are and how you should go ahead and deal with, please feel free to reach me out. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. This is question 9. Great job, guys. Two more questions, and your timer starts now. Okay, so I see a mix and match of D's and C's. So everyone who has gone ahead and read this question correctly knows why D, right? There shouldn't be any further debate on why D not C or why C not D. No, you know for sure it has to be D. Question says why agile incremental approach is the best approach. That's it. All the other premise being said for this question is just given as a premise. So why is agile incremental approach the best or the safest choice in this regard? Now, if you see option A says provide stringent methods to reduce cost of quality and conformity. Stringent methods to reduce the cost of quality and conformity. Okay. Well, let's ballpark it. Reduces the team size. Reduces the team size. Agile incremental approach. We don't need to even think about it. Ensures that project can be cancelled at any time without any. Why are you thinking about canceling the project? In Agile, you have to adapt to any requirement out there, right? B and C gets knocked out. Speeds up the delivery of business. Yes, absolutely. In an incremental approach, the keyword out there is speed. You have to do or deliver things with speed, at high pace out there. Remember, whenever there is a competitor in the market, you have to come out with agile, incremental approach to deliver that minimum viable product. Remember the MVP? Absolutely. So, does any other option stand a chance to D? No. You know for sure that D has to be the best option. Submit it. Just move on with confidence. See, this confidence aspect is also very important, yeah, in going ahead and dealing with the questions. Very, very important out there. So you'll have to go ahead and seamlessly enjoy and just flow with confidence out there from one question to the other. The more you do so, the greater would be your score. Okay. So let's move on to the last question of the day. This is question number 10. Your 60 seconds start now. Okay, so last 5 seconds. Okay, so I'm giving 30 more seconds. This happens to be a tricky question. Excellent, Prashant. I see a flurry of C's and D's. Okay, so let's dig deep into what this question is asking. So, an ecology focused resort complex is planned and the contract is ready for signature. Because some project is planned, right? And that project or contract is ready for signing, signature from the relevant authorities or the stakeholders. Fine. Now, the client asks the prime contractor to suspend planned development work on a parcel of land while the team runs a consumer study. While a team runs a consumer study, the team needs to know what kind of structures to build on the parcel. So the team needs to know what kind of structures to build on the parcel. They are not sure about that. Now that has prompted the suspension of the planned development work on the parcel of land. Right? Now, what should be the prime contractor do to quickly close the deal given the new client requirements? So, some new requirements, need to know what kind of structures are needed for the parcel of land, whatsoever. So, for the timing, you have put it to a hiatus or a pause or a break, right? Perfect, Julia. Okay. Now, what should the primary contractor do to go out and quickly close the deal? Option A says subtract the partial development work, from the quoted price. Plan the partial development work on agile iterations base. See, agile is all about complexity. You're dealing with complex things and uncertainty, just like this. So you can't go ahead and proceed because you have to go ahead and verify a few stuffs as planned, right? As planned, you can't go ahead and proceed as planned. So what should you go ahead and do? You should think in the agile way. So it's all about plain and simple the agile mindset out there. So if you're subtracting the work from the predictive part whatsoever and going ahead and dealing that separately in the form of agile iterations, that's what is the question is asking about. Nothing else. Option B saying add a risk premium to the agreed price. I should not read about this, option out there as well. Hi, Arendra. Nice meeting you. Okay, so option C says raise a change request to examine the impact on scope and price and close the deal when all the information is available. Again, change request for solving any problems. Please remember, it's not about just going and force feeding, change requests for solving any Tom, Dick, and Harry problem. No, remember that and stay cautious, right? So I see many of my mentees going ahead and thinking from change request perspective when there is a problem at hand. The question is not necessitating a change. Why should we at all think about change requests? Please remember that. Very nice, Arendra. Very, very happy to go ahead and know this particular information from you all. See, that's what at the end of the day fills us with awesome pride and happiness, and we look forward to going ahead and creating more success stories and obviously helping many others in future. Very happy, super happy. Congratulations, and please reach me out. I would like to personally congratulate you as well. Okay, so option D says exclude all work on the parcel, okay, of the project plan and pricing and propose a separate contract when the scope becomes clear. No, never. See, that's what colludes with agile as well. So if you're thinking from the agile thought process or the mindset, you should know that you have to adapt rather than going in and canceling or stopping or blocking the work and starting afresh. You're not supposed to do that, isn't it? So that's where this thought process or this particular aspect of your work will lie. And if you know that, this is as pretty simple as the core agile thought process. Now, what are the key takeaways from this particular question? Remember that try to extrapolate these situations into your work or your core out there. Whatever you are dealing with, you'll be able to go out and see that yes, all these relate to these aspects. Then only you'll be able to take or drive the application. That's how EduHubSpot goes out and builds the thought process behind you to go out and ace this exam with confidence. Right? So if in your entire gamut of work, you find some part where you are finding it difficult to go out and help deal with, so remember, very, very importantly, you'll have to take a pause, take a step back, and go ahead and possibly exclude that particular work which seems to be complex and deal with that from the agile mindset's perspective. The rest part of the work you can deal with the predictive way. And there will be many questions, or can be many questions, which precisely goes on and tests this aspect. Fine, let the complexity come. But you are a PMP certified professional out there. You know that you will have to deal complexity with confidence. You have to adapt to that situation. Go ahead and adapt agile and take it forward. If that's what the question was also going at, or only going at and testing out. Has to be A, right? It's not about excluding all the work and propose a separate contract, yeah, by canceling. No, risk premium and change request anyways got eliminated. See, in each and every question, I'm going ahead and applying this core aspect or this core thought process of elimination. Always have that in mind. This actually saves a lot, right? If, say, for example, you don't make any Tom, Dick, and Harry sense out of what the question is asking, still then elimination can go ahead and 60 to 70% assure that you are not putting your foot in the or feet in the wrong direction. Right. So we are done with discussing all the questions of the day. And very importantly, this was the YouTube link, which you can go back in case you had any problems to go ahead and view the questions at your end. So you can refer this, link out there, Kelly. If you can, if you'll see that, the YouTube video runs perfectly fine. It's perfectly focused with all the questions in play, and it doesn't have any blurriness whatsoever. So we have already went ahead and contacted the customer team or the technical team out there. So they also didn't find any issues in the YouTube, by YouTube vlogging, whatsoever. So I request you to go ahead and check, please, at your ends if there is any smarter ways or mechanisms that in life you are able to go ahead and see it in a better way. If not, well, you can always go ahead and refer back to the YouTube link out there. And very importantly, we, the entire team, is looking forward to you going ahead and coming out with more loves, likes, comments, shares. That's how we go ahead and grow. That's how we get to reach many, many, such successful, as aspirants, budding aspirants to be successful out there in PMP. That's what goes ahead and makes us even much more happy. Thank you, Ashu. My pleasure to go ahead and help take you forward. Thank you, Tajuddin. It's been days that I'm going in and seeing you out there, passionate PMP aspirant out there, and I'm looking forward to your success story as well. Thanks, Mohammed. Thank you, everyone, who attended today's session. Please share the same with your friends as well, whomsoever is looking forward to any help. And don't forget to let them know that they can always reach me out at my handles out there, be it over LinkedIn, where you can please send me across the friend requests out there. I'll look forward to connect with you, or over my email. So I'm resharing out here again. Also over my phone. And very importantly, we have gone ahead and come out with a new avatar of our website. Many of you might have already gone ahead and seen. You can also go ahead and check this out. You'll be able to see there's so many new things out there. With new videos out there structured as per the exam content outline for your benefit in the form of lessons, be it video slides and the tests. So all those who are looking forward to getting done with the exam the best way, perfectly the platform that you should be going ahead and looking forward to. My pleasure, Julia. And we had spoken a few days back, and I'm happy to go ahead and see you, witness you in the live session as well. Okay. So having said that, we have our weekday session or the weekday boot camp already, kickstarting today. It kickstarted today morning. So if you still want to go ahead and be a part of the weekday session, let us know. We can help you accommodate in the same, if at all it's feasible at our end without disturbing the structure of the class. If not, if you're looking forward to going ahead and participating in the weekend sessions of arts, so let me go ahead and share with you the link of the same as well. So as you see out here, this is the link, which you can refer to make the most out of, the learnings that we go ahead and provide. For more details, for more clarifications, and taking your enrollment in a proper way, please reach me out. That would be even helpful for you to go ahead and have a seamless experience out there. So Chukuka says, I want to be grounded in project management. How do I go about it? Chukuka, I've been, going and reaching you out over and over again. It's all there to go ahead and get started. So please reach me out over email. Let me go ahead and help you forward. So we'll go ahead and, make sure that we leave no stones unturned. Okay, so having said that, it was a great session with all of you guys, and I literally enjoyed, as I always do, week upon week. I look forward to all of you in the upcoming session that will be taken up by none other than my colleague Gautham. Yep. So look forward to that session, and obviously a lot of learning and a lot of fun to go ahead and make the most out of. So having said that, take care. Take care of your health. Study, but not necessarily a lot. Study smart. If you have any doubts and queries, feel free to reach me out. And very importantly, feel free to love, like, share, and also comment on our YouTube videos. Definitely very, very helpful. Thanks for all your love. Take care. Bye bye.